I'm just trying to human. Hey y'all, welcome to Falling Off Curbs. I'm your host Kat, and let me just say it feels a little surreal to finally be here sharing this moment with y'all, because this podcast has been in my being for a long time. And if I'm honest, I had every reason not to do it, but we'll talk about that later. For now, just know that if you've ever had a moment where you stopped and thought, how did I get here? You are absolutely in the right place, because this podcast is a space where we are embracing the unpredictable, the messy, and for real, the downright hilarious parts of being human, right? All those times when life catches you off guard, sometimes in the best ways and sometimes not so much. So if you've ever felt like you're just out here trying to figure it all out, this is definitely for you. In this first episode, I'll introduce myself, share a little bit of the journey that led me here, and talk about what this podcast is really about. We'll get into some of those how did I get here moments, and I'll try to unpack what it means to live in purpose on purpose. My goal, my hope is that as I'm sharing my experiences, you'll see yourselves in them, right? Maybe you'll laugh, maybe you'll feel less alone. Maybe you'll just think, okay, at least I'm not the only one out here tripping over life. That's what the space is about. We're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it relatable. And as you all will know, we're going to keep it just a little ridiculous, because absolutely yes. So grab a seat, a snack, a notebook, whatever feels good to you, and let's get into it. Okay, y'all. So let's just talk first and foremost about why this podcast even exists, because I think that's important. This podcast came from a question that I feel like I've asked myself 500 million times, maybe over the course of a day, maybe over weeks, months, but I feel like this question keeps coming up and I keep having to answer it or respond to it. And the question is, how did I get here? What is going on? How did I get here? Right? And so the question just wouldn't go away. It wouldn't leave me alone. So here I am, and I guess here we are, answering this very real and very human question together. Let me just keep it a buck with y'all. I've had it in me to start this podcast probably for the better part of a year and a half. And honestly, not doing this sooner absolutely felt like one of those falling off the curb moments, right? So I'm having to deal with the fear and the doubt tripping me all over the place, even when I knew this really was something I wanted to do. But I was overthinking it, because we all know that everybody and their great granddaddy Lou has a podcast these days, because everybody feels like they have something important to say to the people. In my own head, I'm thinking, girl, don't nobody want to hear another somebody talking about something. So I didn't do anything. I was just out here slipping and sliding and stumbling until I finally found the courage to just do it. I had to get over some self-doubt, some overthinking, some straight up procrastination, and think, nah, sis, this one is for you. Do it. So here I am, finally stepping out and doing the thing, like on purpose. And I've learned that living on purpose or in purpose doesn't necessarily mean you have it all figured out. And that's the lie society has sold us and tries to sell us, right? We're supposed to have our whole lives together in our 20s and have it damn near perfect by the time we're 30 or early 30s. Lies, y'all. I mean, just straight up lies. This, and I'm air quoting, supposed to be fantasy. It causes us to have so much disappointment and shame because we feel like we're failing. I talked to a really good friend of mine today, and this came up, right? The failure felt so big, and it makes a perfect storm for depression to show up and for anxiety to show up. And for a little razzle dazzle, this dear friend of mine happens to be a Black man in America. right? The glory of being a Black man, but also the pain and isolation that oftentimes exists because of being a Black man in America. Now, I'm not a Black man in America. I do have really great friends that are Black men in America. And so I listen to them. I listen to other Black men in this world in media. And this seems to be a very real thing for them as my brothers, right? Very real pain and isolation, right? So we talked about this thing, me and my friend. We talked about it, and we talked about it with no shame and no judgment, because he's not failing, right? We're not failing these things. Okay, wait. So there are some things we probably could be doing better. Like, let's for real. We can do some things better. But we're not failing. We're living, and we're learning, and we're growing, and we're going, and we're figuring it out as we go. We just have to keep going, and we have to keep moving, even if it is just a shuffle. I often say, even if I have to army crawl, I gotta keep moving. So honestly, I think as we're figuring it out, we're figuring out how to live on purpose, in a sense of like showing up for ourselves and other people too, don't get me wrong, but showing up for ourselves even when it is just messy, right? It means we are letting go of some very real, unrealistic timelines and expectation that exists in our society. And if I'm being honest, sometimes within ourselves, because of all the things. And we're focusing instead on the very unique path that is meant just for each of us solely, right? For me personally, I have learned that living in purpose on purpose doesn't mean I have to have it figured all out. I just have to stop cussing, y'all. Let me say this. I gotta stop cussing. But I really love the Lord for real. Like, that's my man, 50 grand. So honestly, for me, living on purpose and purpose is really about leaning on faith, right? Trusting that God's timing in everything for me is so much better than any timeline that anyone or any world could try to impose on me. And y'all, it's hard. It's so hard, especially when everything around is screaming, hustle harder, do more. It's not enough. It has to be perfect, blah, blah, blah. But living in purpose, like real purpose, it's about turning all that down. It's so much noise, right? And so for me, I'm turning that noise down, and I'm learning to let God continue to lead me. When I stopped chasing perfection and started for real chasing alignment with Him, that's when purpose really began to take shape for me. So if you're like me and you felt that pressure of having to have it all together, please know it's okay to take your time. God has got you, right? So, okay, I got a little ahead of myself. Let me take a step back and talk about how I got here, right? How did I get here? That's the point. Over the last it's almost been 4 years now. Over the last almost 4 years, life has been lifing real hard. I mean, like hard. And one of the biggest things that I went through was a divorce, right? It for real, y'all, it was a moment in my life that was as painful as it was transformative. Because what do you do when you spent 10 years of your life with another person and now it's just you? It was the wildest feeling, but it made me have to sit with myself, right? It made me face my patterns, and it made me, rethink what it means to truly live and truly grow. And this experience, that experience, and so many other experiences that I have had have been so instrumental in truly helping me understand my own humanity and the beauty of the process of becoming. And I know you all might think, like, becoming what? But that's it. It's just the becoming. And so that's really what this podcast is about. Embracing the mess and learning through it all. The mess, right? These experiences, they didn't just shape me. They really pushed me toward understanding my own human experience on a deeper level, right? So who am I? I am a 35-year-old Black woman trying to navigate this very wild thing called life. If I had to sum it up, I'd say that, my journey has been full of moments where I really thought I had it all together, only to find myself stumbling. And I really had to make a decision to explore those stumbles and the lessons that they brought and how they shaped who I was or who I am, or maybe who I will be. I don't know, right? I wear a whole bunch of hats, y'all, right? My job, professionally, executive leadership. I own my own business. I'm a mom. I am a friend. I am a daughter. I am a wife. I was a wife, now ex-wife, right? I overthink. I'm an overthinker. As Miss Badu says, a recovering undercover over lover. Whatever it is, name it. You name it, probably was it. And my life has been a beautiful mix of highs and lows and everything in between. But I've learned that it's that in those places where the growth is. The growth often comes in the mess, and y'all, that's okay. So where did falling off curbs come from? Where did that metaphor come from? My mom said this phrase several years ago, several years ago. So many years ago. And it just stuck with me and just happened to become the story of my life. And maybe yours too. I don't know, right? It's those moments when I'm walking along, I'm thinking I got everything under control, or at least somewhat halfway, a little bit under control. Things are feeling steady. And then life humbles me real quick. Sometimes it's a big humble, right? A big fall off the curb. Sometimes it's a little humble, a little stumble, right? Either way, this was just a perfect metaphor of how unpredictable, and as some of my friends have heard me say often, devastatingly beautiful life can be. You're walking along, you think you got it all together, and then boom, Bob's your uncle, you missed a curb. And sometimes it's funny, and other times it's painful because, baby, them ankles are gone. You hear me? But these are the moments that really do teach us some of the biggest lessons about resilience and about humility and really about learning how to laugh at ourselves. I think one of the wildest parts of life is how our stories, right, our human experiences intersect with another person's or other people's experiences and stories. Let's keep it a stack. For me, like I said, I love the Lord for real. The Lord does show up in these intersections, at least for me, in some of the most unexpected ways. And in those moments, that's where I find some real clarity and real perspective, and even some humor that helps me to remember how beautifully connected we really all are, and how much God uses these connections to shape us. Sometimes it's beautiful, like finding someone who just gets you. And other times, it's like bumper cars. We all colliding. There's misunderstanding. The noise is up, turned up, loud, bass thumping, but it's noise. I've had so many of those moments. But I've learned after much work, okay, someone else's experience is just that. It's theirs. And I don't have to partake, or participate in any of it. I'm still learning, y'all. Jesus been working on me. And now that I'm thinking about it, and I'm talking about it, I feel like there should be some gratitude out here in this world, because the world is indeed a safer place because I love Jesus. So exercise gratitude, people, because I do have proclivities to violence. But having learned that I don't have to engage in someone else's experience, ooh, y'all. Ooh, the level of unbotheredness I have is unparalleled. I have another friend who once called me Captain Indifferent, which I find hilarious because, yes, but I'm only indifferent about things that I can't change for real. Because why get upset? If you can change it, change it. If you can't, then you can't. But to me, being upset it's not a necessary part of anything, right? Does it happen? Do we get upset? Absolutely. I have lost my cool several times. But after so many times, right? The goal is to make a new mistake. I realized how much energy it requires to do these things upset, and I just don't want to give that much energy because most things really just are not that deep. So I love stories. There'll be lots of stories throughout this podcast, whether they're coming from me or whomever is a guest with me. It will always be story time at some point. So I got a story to tell you all about this thing, right? So last week I had an appointment at the post office to get my 2 daughters' passport application submitted. Let me tell y'all what happened. So we're in the post office, and there was some people in there, but I was next in line. There was a lady at the front that was serving helping some people already. And then there was a lady kind of standing beside her, and she said, "Excuse me, miss." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Is it, basically like, what do you need?" She wasn't rude or anything like that. And I was like, "I'm here to get a money order. Y'all know you got to get the money to pay the U.S. Department of State, et cetera, et cetera. Get a money order." She said, "Is it for a passport?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Okay, she can help you." I was like, "All right, cool. I'll wait my turn. It's no problem." No, there was nothing crazy going on at that point. So I'll wait that those people leave. And I'm the type of person, I'm not going to walk up to the person, the employee, until they say, "I can help you next." Because you just, they got stuff they may have to do. So I'm going to wait, right? And that was fine. And let me just give y'all some setting. It was me. My mom was there. And my 2 girls. Because, if you get a passport for the kids, they got to come too. So we're in there waiting. Lady calls me up. She says, "How can I help you?" Now, this lady, she was a little terse. She's a little tight. Okay? Had a little attitude on her. Right? Again, I'm here to just get my passports taken care of. So whatever. So she says, "How can I help you?" I say, "I just need to get 2 money orders for X amount of money. Is this for a passport?" I say, "Yes, ma'am." This lady looked at me and said, "Oh, you just doing too much. Now you just doing too much." Now, y'all, my brain is thinking, Black colloquialism, we play around with each other like this. Like, "Girl, you doing too much." Okay, y'all doing too much. But it's in a like jovial, like funny way. I couldn't tell if this lady was joking or not. Okay, not that this matters too much, but she wasn't Black. But other people can use that phrase too, and it's fine. But the way she was saying it, black or white or green, purple, red, orange, blue, yellow, the way she said it, I was like, I don't know if she's joking or not. Like, I couldn't, because she came at me, and I'm like, I don't know if she's joking. And so what I tend to do now is just to look at people. One of my good colleague friends, she says, "I'm just looking and blinking, looking and blinking." So I'm looking and blinking. And I say, real cool, like, "Okay, so what do you want me to do?" So she starts rattling off what she needs to do. Now, before I go on to what she says, my mom is behind me on a scooter, right? Now, this is a disabled vet. If anybody understands the veterans, and then sprinkle a little razzle dazzle of disabled veterans, let me tell y'all something. They some special people. I love them. I love them. So okay, the Lord's working on me, y'all. So I did have some proclivities to violence. The tree of violent proclivities is behind me, my mama. And my mom, let me just be cool, y'all. Let me be real. My mom is the coolest person in the world. She's super understanding, real cool, but she don't do too well with a whole lot of attitudes. And she's, in her 60s. And so she think everybody's a kid to her. Y'all are children. She says it all the time. Y'all are children. I'm not dealing with that. She don't have time for it. So I feel her heat. I feel it like a y'all, because that's my mama. That's my girl. So I know it's coming. I can feel it on my back. Okay. And so the lady, I'm just still cool with the lady. "I need this. I need this. You need to have this. You need to have this. You need boom, 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 bam. Bow, 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 bow." Okay. I had all my stuff ready. Y'all know, my friends who may listen to this, they know me. I'm very, very organized. So y'all already know I had all my stuff stacked and ready to go. Birth certificates, custodial paperwork, bam, 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 was ready to rock. So she's listing them, and I'm just opening the folder. I'm just sliding them out real cool, real easy. Because remember, whatever she got going on. That's her experience. I don't have to partake, or participate, right? So I'm not. But I feel my mama. But she being real cool, y'all. She being real cool. I'm so proud of her. We was talking about that the other day. She did so good. And so she's the postal worker is X, Y, and Z. She's still being rough with me, y'all. She's still being rough. You being a little rough. But okay, I'm cool. Get it all out. This is boom, 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 shame, done, blum, blum, blum. She's slinging, slamming, boom, boom, cool. She said, I'll be right back. She walked off into the back with my stuff. Now I looked at my mom and she's like, okay. Because I said, it's good. You know why, Mom? Because people got stuff going on. That lady got stuff going on in her life that don't have anything to do with me. She got some issues. She's having some challenges. And I'm talking like freely. Not, I'm not yelling, but I'm talking freely. There's people behind me who have seen the exchange and they nodding like, yeah. Because the point is, whatever that lady had going on at that moment, it had nothing to do with me. All I needed to do was get my passport application submitted because y'all already know why. So I had business to take care of. It is what it is. Lady, I'm sorry that you're having an experience or had some things happen that changed your experience right now, but that's yours. And I ain't taking it. That's a lot of energy, right? So I'm thinking, Lord, I hope this lady comes back and she's cool. Like, oh God, because I don't know. My mama gonna get her. Like, she's gonna get her. Okay. She comes back, y'all, and she's so mellow. Like, she mellowed all the way out. Real easy. I mean, she was still to the point, right? But that whole attitude was just like gone. And I'm like, And in my mind, I'm thinking sometimes, right, we hear all the time, I'm just going to match energy. I will never lower or debase myself by lowering my energy to someone else's. Gots to be more careful. I'm not doing that. I will respond to said energy, but I'm not going to match it, right? So in that moment, in the exchange that her and I had before she went into the back, I guess she was making copies or something of the birth certificates and whatnot. I could have easily got with her. I could have got with old girl, y'all. Easily could have. But for what? For what, y'all? Like, for what? What would that have done? Except now I'm hot. Now I'm leaving the post office hot, all because I done picked up her hotness because of whatever she was hot about. No, thank you. I'm good. Also, let's keep it a stack. I just need my application submitted. And we know people can be real vindictive and they don't, the power is in their hands a little bit. It's like when people say, I don't send my food back because I don't want them spitting in my food. It'd be like that. So in my mind, I'm also thinking, I'm not about to piss this lady off or match her energy because I need my passport applications to be sent off. And honestly, she could act like she did it and throw it in the trash. I don't need that to happen. So we're going to be cool, right? But she came back and she was real mellow, real cool. And I'm just, respond. We're cool. I'm still cool with her. Everybody's cool. Real low and slow. My mom says, keep it low and slow. We good. And then finally she said, I wasn't even supposed to be at work today. And I looked at that lady and said, you came to work just for me. Thank you. And she stopped and said, I really did. Come to find out, y'all, she was the only person at that post office that can do the passport stuff. I guess there's something that people need to be able to do or have before they can do it. Maybe she was just the most knowledgeable about the process, but she literally had to come in on her day off to process my passport applications or get them sent off, right? Talk about people's stories connecting, or it could have collided, but it connected, right? And that's why she was pissed off. And I don't blame her. Like, I'm not even supposed to be here. So imagine me not knowing that and meeting her with her same energy. That wasn't going to get anybody anywhere. So I'm constantly at, girl, how do you stay unbothered? I say all the time, I'm just trying to love Jesus in peace. That's a lot of work. I'm just trying to maintain my peace because, y'all, I've worked so hard to get my peace, and I work hard to maintain and keep my peace. I will not let anybody or anything disrupt my peace. It's so important, right? So I'm learning, and I've learned through these interactions and other interactions, whether they are like real smooth and easy or like messy and terse, like the beginning of that one I just talked about, those things shape us and they really teach us about empathy and about patience. And really, honestly, because by the time it was over, we were both kind of laughing. Me and the lady we were at, we were jovial. It was cool. And so how we find humor in what is or appears to be chaos. And for real, that's what makes life Interesting. Things that we sometimes hear, but like all the real things that are happening. But even in relationship, the dating and all that good stuff, right? When people haven't done the work, your piece, the piece that you worked for, will bother them. And I'm not saying that in a way to be funny or, disrespectful by any means. So I'm saying it because it's true. And my freedom is someone else's bondage. The way I'm free and at peace trips somebody else up. They done fell off the curb because they can't get with my freedom. That's all right. That's still theirs to deal with. I found that when someone else's peace has disturbed me, right? Let me sit back and figure out what it is that is disturbing me. What's the problem, Kat? Why is how that person is living because they seem to be at peace for real? Why is that bothering you? Do you feel some type of way because you need to work on yourself a little bit more? You feel like you're seeing something or feeling something about yourself that you don't love? You got to deal with that, sis. Got to deal with it. Like my mama said, at the end of the day, it's about you. It's always about you. You can't control what another person does or says or feels or thinks. You can only control you. So it's always about you, right? And so again, these are the things that make life interesting to me. And as we wrap up the episode today, I've been really thinking about how what I've been talking about really boils down to one thing. Life is messy, but it's also beautiful. And the question, how did I get here, will always exist, but that's okay, because the answers are in the experiences that shape us and help us understand what it means to live in purpose with alignment and faith and intention, and being totally 100% okay with this, whatever this may be, being okay with knowing that it's just the beginning of your journey, right? Whether it's a journey in whole or a journey like a sub journey, it's the beginning and it's totally okay, right? So if you've enjoyed the episode, subscribe, leave a message, maybe share it with someone who may need a little reminder that falling quite literally is just part of the journey. Next week, we'll dive into the art of nuance with the luxury of gray. For so many of us, it is or has been that things are either black or they are white. And don't get me wrong, there are many things that truly are just black or white. But understanding that many other things are gray is a luxury that many of us have not been afforded for so many reasons. So come back and check out the next episode because it's a good one. Until then, remember, falling off curbs really is just another step on the journey. Thank y'all so much for listening. And here's to embracing the stumbles and finding joy in the journey. See y'all next week. I'm just trying to be nice.